Well, let's get back to it.
The total destabilization of life as we know it. Did you hear that nice lady on the news? I missed who she actually was, but she sounded like an expert to me. The not much COP26 is going to close and absolutely nothing's going to happen. You know it won't. We're not going to save ourselves until it's too late. I'm telling you. She said if you're under 60, if you're under 60 years old, then you will witness the total destabilization of life as we know it. She stumbled a bit when she was speaking. She's probably tired. The total destabilization of life as we know it, she said, if you're under 60. Well, haha, charade you are. I'm 61. Is it me, or when Bodger speaks, like he was chuntering on about, well, you know, it's very, very important, you know, doing his thing. Everybody must obey the rules and regulations. Yeah, wear a mask at all times. Sure, like I don't, he said. When he speaks, do you think, are you still the Prime Minister? You're not still the Prime Minister, are you? I mean, come on. Time's up. Let's go. Still clinging on. That's not embarrassing at all. Hey, the Leonids meteor shower is set to peak on Wednesday night and through to Thursday dawn with up to 15 shooting stars every hour.
Boring!
The annual spectacle occurs when small rocks fall towards Earth after breaking off from a comet called Temple Tuttle. Isn't that exciting?
No.
Couldn't be more boring. You sit there in the freezing, blooming cold, staring at the sky for about 20 minutes, and then you go, oh, there's one. And that's it. According to NASA, the Leonids are considered to be some of the fastest meteors in existence, travelling at speeds of 44 miles per second, or approximately the same speed that Bodger Johnson reaches when trying to dodge journalists' questions about how corrupt he is.
Yeah. Wait a minute.
Meanwhile, down on dry but gloomy Earth, the weekend temperatures are mild for the time of year, hitting 15 centigrade in some parts. And I sincerely hope they include your parts. Averages of 14 centigrade on Sunday and 13 centigrade on... 14 on Saturday, 13 on Sunday. And I will translate that from European metric surrender temperatures to Her Majesty's Fahrenheit. So you multiply by 5 and divide by 9 and add 32. So 13 times 5 is 5 ones are 5 and 5 threes are 15. So that's 515. And you divide by 9 is like 60. 60? 60 plus 32 is 112. Wow! It's going to be 112 degrees centigrade this weekend. Can you believe that?
No.
Or Fahrenheit, whichever it is. Each way, don't make no difference. Don't get comfortable. Forecasters have warned of snow next week.
What?
Snow. It's too early. There goes that hoping for a warm winter thing that Zaphod Zahawi promised us. Wasn't it him who said we were going to get... Oh, don't worry about the high price of gas. We're going to get a warm winter. Yeah, I've looked at my tea leaves, or he's done the numbers.
If you do the numbers, so just really a couple of things. One, 500 and about 100 million, and of course an additional 5.4 billion pounds. Now, you've got to remember, one, 5 million already, and a number of almost 10,000, including.
Sounds like my car engine on a cold day. I think someone needs to trickle charge him. Anyway, forecasters have warned for snow next week.
What?
Exactly. Some places by next week will get snow of up to 2.5 millimetres, or 3 feet 6. Met Office forecaster Alex said... He said, on Saturday it's going to be staying cloudy in eastern parts with some showers. Mostly dry elsewhere. Mostly. With some... Well, at least I'm laughing. Where am I? Oh, yeah. Sunny spells, particularly over northwest Scotland. What? Northwest Scotland? Pfft, sunny? Rubbish. Checking while you wait. Aha! Blimey. This is Glasgow. Not raining tonight, not raining tomorrow, not raining on Sunday, not raining on Monday. But then, oh dear. Never mind. Raining every single day for the rest of your lives. Rain and strong winds in the far northwest sink southeast. Does that make sense?
No.
Shall I read it again?
Negative.
Something about sinking. Blustery showers following on. Fog by night. Mild over all. That is Sunday to Tuesday. Do you want to hear the long-range forecast for the next 4 weeks?
No.
Until the 25th of November now. Changeable in the north, which I think means raining in Glasgow. Elsewhere, drier and clearer with early fog. That's the next week. And then the following week, into the third week in November, it's going to become drier and more settled. Temperatures go down towards the end of the month, with an increasing chance of some wintry showers in the north, but a slight risk of snow showers at lower levels. And for the last week of November, first week of December, northwesterly winds mean temperatures are likely to be near or slightly below average. The most settled, driest and brightest conditions are predominantly across the south, and some milder spells cannot be ruled out. Some milder spells cannot be ruled out? We'll take it. This text says the Tories have lost so many points in the polls. Have they stopped getting things in order? You're just playing me like a ukulele, or whatever those things are called, like a banjo. A banjo would probably be correct. I heard that you, if you get it in order, you do get extra points.
If you get it in order, you get extra points.
Extra points for getting it in order. Paul says, it's my 36th birthday today, and what do I get? The total destabilization of life as we know it. Thanks. Yes, it's 36th birthday. Nobody cares, Paul. I mean that in the nicest possible way. Martin emails, where is Extinction Rebellion when Boris needs them? Yeah. I'm surprised we're not at war with France yet. They must be so desperate for some sort of major distraction. I'll come to that. Did you see? I'll come to that in a minute. First of all, this was absolutely delicious. Football manager and teeth wrangler Jurgen Klopp said world leaders should not be elected because they have the weirdest haircut. What do you think of that, Bodge?
I can't comment on that.
Any thoughts, Donito?
Oh, shut up!
The Liverpool manager Jurgen Klopp said the rise of Johnson and Donald Trump was a bad sign for the whole of the world. Yeah, and America too.
The American dream is dead.
Jurgen Klopp said, why do we let people like Farage and Johnson lead any kind of group of people in any direction? Exactly.
I'm a nutcase.
He said, I have to say, at the last two elections, first with Donald Trump and Boris Johnson, but particularly Donald Trump.
I'm president. Can you believe it?
And Boris Johnson. That's his defining characteristic, isn't it? Yeah. There it is. In a nutshell, Bodger Johnson. Anyway, Jurgen Klopp said, why do we let people like Farage and Johnson lead any kind of group of people in any direction? Well, it's probably got something to do with the type of people that he got in his party.
We've got a few idiots in our party.
He said, one is now gone and the other struggles still. As in, Trump has gone. He's a goner.
You are going to love President Trump.
Yeah, particularly when he's a goner. He said, it's a really bad sign for the whole of the world that this can happen because everybody knew beforehand that it will not work, but we still let it happen as a society, and I cannot believe that, said Liverpool manager Jurgen Klopp. He said, one's gone, the other one struggles still. It's incredible. It's not a nice job, I have to say. It's not an easy job to do, but that's why we have to find a system where we can bring people in the position to solve all of our problems who are the best possible people and not the most not the most funny or the weirdest haircut or whatever. Yeah. Bingo! In a nutshell. Precisely right. I couldn't agree more. Any thoughts, Bodge?
I think he's betraying a quite stupefying ignorance.
Jurgen Klopp made a point of praising Manchester United's Marcus Rashford last year for his free school meals campaign. Klopp said at the time, "It's just nice to show, in a time when obviously a lot of people who are really in charge of something and don't show any sign of proper leadership, that a boy grown up in difficult circumstances and blessed with sensational talent obviously never forgot his roots and where he is coming from. It's a bit of a shame that he has to do it, but it is wonderful as well. He speaks English better than most English people. And with that many teeth in his mouth, it must be difficult. A bit of a shame that he has to do it, but it is wonderful as well." Yeah, we have a government now that is led by people who continually quote their faith at us and use it as a weapon. And yet, almost always do the precise opposite of what Jesus would do. Any thoughts on that?
You're better informed than I am. I don't know anything.
Yeah. But to be fair to the Conservative government, starving children do not donate thousands of pounds to the Conservative Party, so they really can't expect any special treatment. Ain't that right, Smug? Meanwhile, Boris Johnson has slumped in the polls because a number of Tory sleaze scandals have finally woken his cult fans from their torpor. Even Fishy got stuck in. Fishy Sunak delivered a rebuke to the PM, saying the government needs to do better. And at this point, I would not be surprised if that meant the government needs to do better to stop us plebs from finding out about their various shenanigans, rather than them stopping their various shenanigans. What a week, eh? What a way to run a country.
Dreadful.
0345 6060 973. Text 84850. Email nicka@lbc.co.uk. And if you're on Twitter, it's at LBC. Friday, Saturday, Sunday night at 10. Nick Abbott, LBC.
Yeah! Dudes!
Claire texts, "Hey Nick, being a Glaswegian and living close to the city centre and working in Sucky Hall Street, the only thing I've noticed about COP26 is there's loads more police from all over the UK and fancy buses for the delegates." Fancy buses. Bruce emails, "The COP delegates are copping out at COP26. Greta Thunberg is right with too much blah, blah, blah. Words are meaningless without actions to back them up. Unfortunately, actions will mean change, and folk dinny like change." Oh, there's the dinny right at the end there. I didn't realise there was a Scottish one. Shall I stop doing that? Oh, okay then. This says, "Nick, I'm usually a listener with material, but I can't come up with anything funnier than the UK government. All I've got that might raise your blood pressure is that is that Boris is doing his best."
Affirmative.
Oh my God. I just can't. I've got to the point I just don't think I can stand it anymore. He does. That was the first thing that occurred to me. I heard his voice on the news at 10 o'clock, and he was, chuntering on about, who even cares what he says anymore. And my immediate thought was, you're not still the Prime Minister, are you? I mean, come on. I mean, seriously, have you seen the news? Dan texts, "Hi Nick, snow next week. How long before some idiot texts the show to say, how can there be global warming if it's snowing? I have my moron bingo card ready," says Dan. Yeah, we'll have a full house before you know it. Let's have Yorkshire. Hello, Mike.
Hi, Nick. Yeah. Just a quick one about Jurgen Klopp's comment.
Yes.
He was saying that Marcus Rashford had remembered his roots, remembered where he came from, and was doing something about it.
Yes.
But you could apply exactly the same thing to Boris Johnson. He knows where he came from, where his roots are,
Yes.
and he is absolutely continuing to superiority and privilege, and he's doing the same thing as Marcus Rashford.
He's acting in the interests of his own.
Absolutely, yeah. So that's that one. But the other one was, my main thing this week is embarrassment. Boris Johnson stood up at COP gave a speech, and then more than half the questions that came back to him were about corruption in his government.
Well, yeah.
Which is embarrassing for the British people. But if he was Churchill, which he thinks he wants to be, why didn't he just say at the first time that question came up, this is about COP, we're talking about climate change, political questions will do tomorrow, I'm taking questions on COP, and he could have stopped it if the man had character. Because everybody knew what was going to happen with the questions. He must have known. But instead of that, he goes off on one saying about UK isn't corrupt.
Yeah, sure it isn't. Yeah.
Nobody ever said UK was corrupt. But
well, I don't know about that. I think a lot of people have said that the UK is corrupt. We seem to be at the very epicentre of a whirlwind of corruption. The international criminal super rich wash their money cleaner than clean in this country.
Allowed to by the government.
Of course.
Not the people, but UK isn't corrupt. When we get stopped by the policeman, we don't have a 50 quid note next to our driving licence. Well, that's what happens abroad. That's when it's corrupt. Your first thought, if you want an extension, is you apply for an extension.
Right, I see what you mean. So the people aren't corrupt, it's our leaders that are corrupt.
Absolutely.
Right.
So he said that, and LBC presenters spent 2 days talking about, is UK corrupt?
Yes.
Which is exactly what Boris wanted. The correct question would have been,
are you corrupt?
Boris suggested UK was corrupt. Instead of suggesting, are the government corrupt? Why would he have done that? That would have been a great debate. But to actually to go on to UK being corrupt, absolutely fitted what he wanted.
Right, but nobody actually meant that the people in the country. They meant that the institutions of the country. They meant the people that are leading us. The financial institutions, the legal institutions that back them up, the accountancy firms, all of that lot are set up and make vast amounts of money on, like I said, on washing the international criminal super riches' ill-gotten gains whiter than white. That's what we do for a living.
Absolutely. Yeah, I quite agree. And no end of programmes. You start saying the distraction bomb this week was X, Y, and Z. But what Boris Johnson did was drop a distraction bomb about saying the UK isn't corrupt, and that was a distraction bomb.
No, I don't think so. No, I don't think so. I mean, well, first of all, he wasn't going to take ownership of that question. He was going to deflect it from, are you corrupt? Is this government corrupt? To, this is not a corrupt country. Thereby making the brew less concentrated, sort of dissipating the allegations out among a lot of us, where we aren't, but they are, is the answer to that question.
Quite true.
And you know what? I'm sorry to keep interrupting, Mike, but every single thing they have done is within the rules. How many times have you read that in the newspapers over the past couple of weeks? But, despite these eye-watering claims against this or that individual, everything they have done is within the rules, which means that the rules aren't so much a provision for restricting their behaviour, but it's just a rubber stamp to okay their behaviour, no matter what it is.
Yeah, and the next thing that might affect you is that Boris is desperate to try and get Paul Dacre to be in charge of the broadcasting overlord.
It's also very much, what would Donald Trump do?
He slipped Simmons in there, who is husband to Nick Gibb, who is brother-in-law to Robbie Gibb, who is a number 10 advisor.
Also one of the Bee Gees. Not a lot of people know that.
and he slipped him in on the board, who decides this. Yeah. But, I mean, Joe Morn from the Good Law Project has actually written to number 10 saying you cannot change the criteria for the job. Yeah. That is illegal. So they bent it, but this week has been so corruption that this thing that they're doing is slipped under the bloody radar. But if he gets Paul Dacre in there, he can cancel the BBC, he can cancel Channel 4, he can have an effect on your life, Nick.
Yeah, Mike, just think, what would Donald Trump do? And that's what this regime seemed to do. Donald Trump is their hero. because up until the point at which he didn't, he got away with it. I bet Donald Trump's going to be the next leader of the free world. I bet you he is. And then they will have been correct for following that course of action by dint of what would Donald Trump do? Just whatever the question at hand, what would Donald Trump do? That's what they do. Which is, by the way, going back to religion, the exact opposite of what Jesus would do. But they'll continue to use their religion as a weapon. Thanks a lot, Mike. Stop saying absolutely.
Absolutely.
Phil tweets, "Good evening, Nick. I have decided to follow the example of all of our wonderful leaders' approach to climate change by applying it to my credit card debts, which I promised to pay off by 2050. Adam says, Labour finally take a substantive lead in the polls. 6-point lead. Time running out for Boris. Yes, time's up, Bodge. I'm surprised that Carrie hasn't thrown all of his clothes out the window yet. 0345 6060 973. Text 84850. Email nicka@lbc.co.uk. If you're on Twitter, it's at LBC. Friday, Saturday, Sunday night at 10. Nick Abbott, LBC. It's 10:30. The news headlines with Zora Solomon.
You're joking.
Nikki texts, "Evening, Nick. If any members of the government need a second job, I need a chicken brusher urgently. They like to be brushed every 2 days at least. No pension, just brushing chickens, really? I've never heard of a chicken brusher. How'd you brush a chicken?" Joanne says, "Nick, do you agree with George Useless that this is a storm in a teacup?" No. They want us to think that it's a storm in a teacup. Move along, please. Nothing to see here. Yeah, sure. Joanne says, "I don't think the British people are interested in the fact that our MPs, 85% of the members of the Conservative Party, are earning thousands of pounds from their second jobs," says Joanne. With just a hint of a sarcasm, I bet. And Tom texts, "Nick, please do the rest of the show in that Scottish accent. That was brilliant." No, I will not. But thanks for asking. So the main meat of the week was Boris Johnson, who summoned his cabinet of no talents to Downing Street to find a way out of the sleaze mire engulfing the Conservative Party. They're a team up a stream in search of a paddle. That ship's going down and the water is brown. The Prime Minister held a 5-hour summit over wine and canapes. French food? This was at number 10 last night to thrash out a plan of action after days of negative headlines about MPs lining their pockets while serving in Parliament, or more accurately, not serving in Parliament. Well, you know, here's a novel idea. How about stop lining your pockets while serving in Parliament? I know that's a revolutionary thought, but how about do the actual job you're paid for and not spend all your time finding ever more exciting and dodgy ways in which to make your fortunes? I mean, would that be out of the question? And by the way, did we pay for the wine and the canapes? I bet we bloomin' well did. We pay them to have a meeting to find a way to stop us from finding out about what they get up to all day. Because I betcha that this does not end in them stopping outside work. It'll just become harder for us to find out about their outside work. Anyone want to take that bet? Bet nah. It is understood, we are reliably informed, that the meeting focused on his levelling up agenda, with ministers arriving carrying maps. That's what they came up with after all this. After negotiating a torrent of sewage, politically speaking, they think that we'll get put back in our box if we think they're making an effort to find the North on a map. Do they really think we're that stupid?
Yes.
That same evening, Culture Secretary Nadine Dorries told a Tory junior minister that he was overreacting when he voiced concerns of a voter backlash. In a WhatsApp message obtained by The Times, she told George Freeman, quotes, "The expenses scandal, which began the day of the European elections in 2009, and ended on the day of the ballot was 1 billion times worse than last week. 1 year later, almost to the day, we monstered Labour in the local elections, and David Cameron became PM, breaking 13 years of Labour domination. Last week wasn't great, she wrote, but it was a long way from the worst. Somewhat missing the point that this is not a problem for the Conservative Party, it's a problem for the country. The country is supposed to come first. But I think we poor dopes who pay taxes are some way down the list of what is important to the regime. First and foremost, it appears to be the paymasters. Those that stump up the most cash for each minister that they buy. Not us. After which it's the party, also not us. Then it's the press, and only then, perhaps, it's us lot. At the very most, we're fourth on the list of priorities. Damn it! Meanwhile, Fishy Sunak sunk his oar in. Fishy Sunak hinted that cabinet divisions over Prime Minister Bodger's attempt to block the suspension of former Minister Owen Paterson for breaking lobbying rules, which he attempted to do by ruffling up his hair and going "Pah!" like he does. And it usually works for Bodger. Get in a scrape, go "Pah!" and everyone says, "Oh, he's doing his best." And then he can get on with, being him. And because he's the boss, no one stands up to him. He's got the air of someone who has never been corrected in his whole life, does Bodge. And now, he's got a Chancellor who is much richer than Bodger is. And Fishy's wife is even richer than Fishy is. So that's a lot of cash to insulate him from any flack coming back from number 10. And so Fishy broke ranks and said, quotes, "Reflecting over recent events, I think for us as a government, it's fair to say that we need to do better than we did last week, and we know that." Which is the absolute minimum that anyone caught up in all this could say. We need to do better. And I don't know if it's me being cynical, but that could be taken so many ways. I bet a number of Tories thought, yeah, we do need to do better at hiding all of this dosh that's coming our way while we should be doing the job that put us in the position where we get these kind of offers from companies that want our attention. I mean, which company is actually interested in the opinions of some minister? I mean, it's not exactly a cabinet of all the talents, is it? It's, from the opinion of an ignorant outsider, it looks to me like a collection of inept, hopeless gargoyles that rode the tailcoat of the funny bloke off the telly to a position of power that interests corporations and business persons. It's the position that's the prize, not the person. But the person, the MP, thinks that these companies want them for their expertise. Or do they? I mean, that's what they claim, but I bet they know full well that no company would be offering them thousands and millions of pounds if the MPs weren't in a position to do them favours. I mean, really, who are they trying to kid? If a company gave you hundreds of thousands of pounds, or even a light lunch, they'd want something in return. I mean, that's the thing about capitalism. It's not a charity. They're not generous. So the Bodge and his merry band of pranksters had a conflab to discuss levelling up, which is why they did a performance, a thing about carrying in maps. Look at us, we care about places outside SW1. But when they were inside, away from the cameras, it was all, how can we stop this tide of bad press while still earning vast amounts from doing other jobs? They want to stop the outrage, but not if it means that they have to stop what outraged us in the first place. It's that sort of upper-class sense of entitlement that gets drilled into them at the schools that they went to. It's also, don't question us, peasant. What a way to run a country, eh?
Dreadful.
Meanwhile, the cabinet meeting was ostensibly focusing on the levelling up agenda, with ministers due to lay out how their department is contributing to the drive. And how's that whole levelling up thing going, by the way?
Oh, fabulous.
And this episode has triggered a wave of sleaze allegations. It'll come lapping at us. Constantly now, I would expect, day after day after day. And it's seen the outside interests of all MPs coming under fresh scrutiny. It was an excellent word said in a Scottish accent. Scrutiny. Scrutinise it. It's also resulted in a Tory slump in the polls. Finally! Labour now taking the lead for the first time in a year in several surveys. And Fishy Sunak did not comment directly on the cases of either Patterson or Sir Geoffrey Cox, the former Attorney General who racked up more than £5.5 million in outside earnings. How can you earn £5.5 million and do the job of being an MP? I mean, however you look at it, that makes being an MP a part-time job, doesn't it? Well, it isn't to the people who pay taxes, for whom 80-odd grand a year and £250,000 in expenses would be lottery-winning money, not something to trouser while looking for something else that pays better. It's like getting married to someone while scanning the room for someone else to have sex with at the reception. I mean, what kind of person would do something like that?
I can't comment on that.
Number 10 sources said the PM has said that it is vital MPs focus on their constituents and obey the rules. He thinks those who break the rules should be punished. We are all agreed on this. No, they aren't. And no, Bodger definitely is not agreed on that. I mean, if somebody who breaks all the rules is to be punished, then Bodger Johnson is going to be bent over the metaphorical desk of justice from now until the end of time. Thank you, sir. May I have another? 0345 6060 973. Friday, Saturday, Sunday night at 10. Nick Abbott, LBC.
Okie dokie.
0345 6060 973. Here is a important call that I need to get on straight away from Wanstead. Hello, Tracy.
Nick, it's not Tracy.
Oh.
It's Sophie.
Can I call you Tracy?
Yeah, that can be my other radio name. You can call me Tracy.
Tracy!
As long as you don't call me a Karen, I'm fine.
Right.
But
as long as I call you. Yes, Tracy.
Yeah. Before I start talking about Marcus Rashford, who I'm a huge fan of, I'm a little bit worried for America.
Worried for America? America will be just fine. What are you worried about them for?
Because Biden obviously will be too old to go in for the candidacy again.
Yes.
So who do you think they're going to wheel out? Because it will have to be someone really impressive.
Yeah. How about Obama?
Oh, that would be a dream come true.
Yes, it would. Yeah.
But it will have to be a hard hitter.
How about Howard Stern? Howard Stern said he's going to run. If Donald Trump runs, Howard Stern is going to run. I want Howard Stern to be my next president.
That would be so entertaining.
Yeah.
I'll be transfixed to my radio listening to you.
Yeah.
But the other thing is, your Scottish accent was amazing.
Well, I am half Scottish.
Yeah, it was very good.
And
when you do Andy Murray,
I grew up in Edinburgh.
I know, it's very good, Dick. It's uncanny.
Well, thanks, Tracy.
But Marcus Rashford, and your producer was very nice and polite as well, I have to say. Marcus Rashford, now he has done something that most people who reach a certain level of success don't do, which is
wear nylon shorts.
Yeah, that as well, neon colours, but forgotten where they come from.
Oh.
And I think politicians are completely out of touch, remote. They've got no humanity.
Well, some, not all, some. There's I think the Tory party is a bit split at the moment, and Andrew Pearce was writing quite well about this in the Mail the other day. And he was saying that basically it's a toss-up between the new lot in the red walls, who are quite, embedded in their local area, versus the poshos who have no area. They're internationalists, and they will just go to wherever a super safe seat is so they can get away with absolutely anything they like, and people will blindly vote for the government continuously, regardless of the actions of their local MP, most of whom probably wouldn't be able to name.
Exactly, and that poor MP who was murdered a few weeks ago, he sounded like he was a really humane person, and we need more people like that. I think it's a disgrace that they have second homes when people are homeless. I think it's a disgrace that they have 6 bars in the House of Commons when people are queuing at food banks. I'm lucky I've got a stable job. I work in a school, but I really, really feel for people who are going through hard times at the moment. And in any ordinary time, it would be bad. But after this lockdown and pandemic, and I think what Marcus Rashford has done has recognised, if you don't invest in young people, it will have such a seismic effect later on the NHS, on social services.
You know what? It's just too embarrassing to say that Marcus Rashford is a hero for bringing to our attention the fact that kids are going to bed hungry. I mean, for crying out loud, why did it take him to do it? Why do we need a professional footballer to be our moral guide? That's supposed to be the job of the blooming government. That's what's embarrassing about this. Not that that they aren't doing it, but that Marcus Rashford, a footballer for crying out loud, had to bring this to their attention, force them to do it against their instincts.
I think it's revolting, and I think we have to look to ourselves as well. People are so selfish.
Oh, I see. It's my fault.
Not you, Nick. You're one of my favourite people.
One of?
Not you.
Right.
And Steve Allen and Majid Nawaz and sorry.
Right. Yeah, etc. and so on. Yeah, thanks a lot, Tracy.
But I could not do without you every week. It's been a stressful week, and you're amazing.
Okay, like science fiction, you mean? Amazing.
Otherworldly, but Marcus Rashford, I think it's our fault in the sense that I think we live in a society that just thinks of where people think of the short term. Am I okay? Am I earning a wage? Am I buying what I want to buy, not necessarily what I need to buy?
That's just people. We're supposed to elect the best of us in order to correct that sense of that's selfishness. That's the job of the government, is to act in the interests of all of the people, not all of themselves. Anyway, Tracy, I've got to go, but cheers, my dear. 0345 6060 973. Maidenhead. Hello, Paul.
Hello, Nick.
Paul. Can I call you Tracy?
Oh, you can call me anything you want, bruv.
Go ahead.
I prefer Sharon.
Right.
But I'm Paul, really.
Okay.
Look, well, you said it.
Carry on.
Last call, amazing last caller. Amazing last caller. What is going on with this Bonjo Johnson religion? I don't know why he has control of so many people for no reason.
He has hypnotised a significant number of, enough of the population to cling on to power. It's not the majority, of course. It's a minority that have given them a majority, which is a pretty damning indictment of the screwed up system that we've got in this country. Not really democracy if it's skewed so far in one direction.
I think the reason Bonjo is still in power is because the furlough system has brought him, because I think most of the people who have been on furlough in the last couple of years are Conservative voters. I don't know what you think about that.
What, you mean people who are in receipt of free money?
Yes.
They're great. They're so grateful that they're going to continue to vote for him. Yeah, that's...
yeah. So do you confirm that?
No, not really. No, I mean, are we so easily bought? They had no choice but to give us...
No, we're not. The others are. The rich. They're buying off the rich, aren't they? That's why Bonjo's still being voted for.
I don't think the rich are voting for him. I think really, oddly, it's the people who are least likely to benefit from a Conservative Party rule who seem to be the most eager to vote for the Conservatives, as though the last 11 years didn't happen.
But why? It's
I
their
don't
call.
know.
Why are
I've
they
got
voting
no
for him?
idea. He is the funny bloke off the telly. Other than that, I can't tell you.
I mean, he's a joke. I mean, he's like a clown. How can people fall for this?
The ex-MP, PM of Australia called him a coconut head.
There you go.
That's about right.
So what's wrong with us? Why can't we see him as a coconut head? What is wrong with us?
I don't know, to be honest. I mean, it is a puzzling question because America just went through this with Donald Trump. Many other countries are going through this as well. So, like, joke candidates suddenly are doing extremely well.
Yes, I know. Why? I think people have lost their minds. I think people are not actually focusing on politics and reading and researching about what's actually happening.
They just want to be
world.
entertained.
Yeah.
And the thing about Bodger, there's no doubt about it. He is entertaining. He gives good speech. He commands a room, does his act, and much merriment all around. Same with Donald Trump. Donald Trump is a stand-up comedian. If he wasn't so alarmingly, what's the word? I'm scrolling through quite a few, most of which are highly offensive. If he wasn't so Donald Trump, then it wouldn't be so alarming. But he is a comedian in that he just stands up and does his riff. It's like pantomime when he's on stage. And he's got his greatest hits and he brings them out. What are we going to do? Lock her up, all of that stuff. And Bodger's the same. Really? This is what we want from our leaders, to be entertained? It's a bit alarming, really. It's no way to run a country, and it's certainly no way to run the world. I mean, if you were an alien from space, taking a peek down here at what's going on, you'd think, well, it's not really worth saving, is it? Market for destruction.
How are you?
I'm super, thanks for asking. The total destabilization of life as we know it. So nothing serious then? We don't get serious about the climate change. This anonymous text says, "Hey Nick, how can there be global warming if it's snowing?" Well, that's a good point. So forget everything I just said. Jake tweets, "Nick, I've heard that you're a big fan of pizza. What's your crust and topping preference?" Excellent question, Jake. I like thin and crispy, and also thick and chewy. I also like the deep Chicago pizza pie. So gooey and yummy. I like a meat topping and a vegetarian topping. I like all cheese or no cheese. I like ones with egg on them or no egg. Basically, if it's a pizza, I'll have it. I'll appreciate it.
Thank you.
Maurice texts, what is it about pizza, by the way? I mean, there's only some foods that really spangle your brain, aren't they? Chips and pizza. There isn't anything else. There isn't anything else that you would steal off somebody's plate, is there? You wouldn't steal somebody else's mashed potato, for instance. You wouldn't steal their broccoli. You wouldn't steal their bread. And yet, you make potatoes into chips, and suddenly it's every man for themselves. Every person for themselves. Sexist. Same with bread. Make it into a pizza. Ooh. A cheese sandwich? Not so much. Weird. I think when they combine certain foods in certain ways and cook them in certain manners, it does release some sort of drug. We're eating drugs, people. Maurice texts, "Hi Nick, I've spotted a silver lining. We could trade honours on the stock exchange against other major currencies." Quotes, "The knighthood has risen slightly against the yen, while the peerage has fallen dramatically against the dong." But the Vietnamese dong, not bong. I would be surprised if that's not happening already. RJ texts, "Nick, I couldn't bear to listen to Johnson at the COP, but I read that he rushed through his speech and after about 20 minutes actually had the gall to say, 'I've got to go,' and rushed off to catch a train. I'm just waiting for the day when he'll say, Don't pick on me, I'm doing my best. or just open every speech with... Harry texts, Nick, have you seen the latest Westminster poll? Labour on 40%. Is this real or a momentary lapse of insanity? Which is almost, but not quite, the name of a Pink Floyd album.
Rock and roll!
Momentary lapse of insanity. Bye-bye Bodger, says Harry. It is beginning to sound a bit weird when somebody on the news announces that the Prime Minister said this or that, and then they play a tape of Bodger. And you think, oh, still? Come on. Game's up, surely. Time's up. Jerry says, all of these people that are texting and emailing and so on, I mean, the list is absolutely endless. So already I've got like about 3 feet of messages to get through. I'm never going to do it. There is an actual phone number here. I know that might seem like old technology. Phone? What's a phone, Grandad? Grandad? Why, you little... But you can actually call me and tell me this stuff to my face, if you like. 0345 6060 973. Jerry texts, Hi Nick, do you think if Donald Trump gave the Tory party £3 million, they would give him a seat in the House of Lords? Lord Donald of Trumpton. I'd be very surprised if they didn't. They'd find some way to wangle it. Bill Texas, Churchill would say, some storm, some teacup. Yeah, ain't going away anytime soon, unless there's a war. And it might just come in time to save Bodger and his cavalcade of clowns. Well, I'll get to that in a minute. Or maybe I'll get to it now. Should we do World War III now? Oh, sure, why not? So I reckon that Bodger Johnson needs a really good war to get the public's mind off the stench coming off the regime. I mean, they try a lot of things, I'm sure, ramping up the war with France. But the thing about having a go at the French is that we need them more than they need us. And we particularly, because, the government sort of got into power on the basis of them repelling foreigners, pushing them back out to sea, let them drown. That was their big thing, wasn't it? Get Brexit done. We can seal our borders. Build a wall. Gonna build a wall. But the French aren't playing ball. See, we need them to do us favours because people are on that side where the French can stop them. But why would it be in the interest of the French to stop a lot of people who are living in shacks on their land if they want to leave? I mean, if you were French, would you say, oh, no, you can't leave, you must stay here and ruin this environment? No, you want them to get out. And so what we're trying to do is to persuade the French to keep them. And they need to be on side. And this seems to be the dawning realisation among the regime that they can't actually pick a fight with France because we need them too much. Plus, there's the whole, trading with our French friends and European neighbours, which is not something, the loss of which will not be ameliorated by some hooky deal with Australia or New Zealand, crying out loud, or Japan or anywhere else. So the idea, I'm sure, was, and is perhaps still, to pick a fight with the French, but not really. Just make it seem to us, poor dopes who pay taxes, that they're picking a fight with the French, because they think that that's what we want to hear. But they can't really pick a fight with the French, only in public. They can trade, like a slanging match, sure, for the benefit of us, for the people, but not really. And I did expect that we would that they would ramp up the French thing in order to distract us from what is actually going on here. But I don't think that they're going to have to do that because Vladimir Putin is stepping in to save Boris Johnson. And I wonder if it's for the first time. So I'll get to that in a minute. Ollie says, Hi Nick, my word of the day for MPs is trousering. Still can't understand why countryside MPs can claim money on London accommodation while renting out their London properties at the same time. Yeah, can you believe that? A group of landlord politicians were slammed for claiming £1.3 million in taxpayers' cash to pay the rent on their London homes while raking in money from properties that they own. 17 MPs have been found out doing this, 88% of them Tory. Isn't that surprising?
No.
They've used a loophole in parliamentary expenses rules introduced after the 2009 scandal to cover their costs while making thousands of pounds from their own tenants. So MPs with a home in London are renting that home out. Now, they could live in that home, but their little scheme is to rent the home that they own out, keep the cash from renting it out, and then rent another home for themselves and charge the rent for their second home to us poor dopes who pay taxes. Isn't that great? And as usual, they'll say that it is all within the rules, which means that the rules are pretty much meaningless. They allow anything that any MP wants to do. It's not so much a rule book as a how-to manual for monetising the office of Member of Parliament. I mean, the only thing that prevents them from abusing their position is their sense of morality. Meanwhile, it emerged today that a Tory MP who told England ace Marcus Rashford to stick to football and stop playing politics when he campaigned for free school meals during the pandemic has a second job paying her £36,000.
Fabulous.
Dover MP Natalie Elphick criticised Manchester United striker for trying to help deprived school children and mocked his missed Euro 2020 penalty. She told a Tory WhatsApp group the 24-year-old who picked up an MBE from Prince William this week should have spent more time perfecting his game and less time playing politics. I mean, apart from anything else, just imagine where you would have to be as a person to criticise somebody for trying to help deprived schoolchildren. Just pause and let that sink in for a minute. And at the time that she said this, that Marcus Rashford should stick to the day job, she herself was spending time on a second job, for which she gets paid around £3,000 for 8 hours work a month. And if only there was a way to divide 3,000 by 8, I would be able to tell you how much that is an hour. But unfortunately, 8 does not go into 3, so it's impossible to say. But it's £3,000 for 8 hours work. Meanwhile, former Attorney General Geoffrey Cox, you know Geoffrey Cox, don't you? No! Yes, that's him. He faced fresh questions after it emerged that he took out a £3,900 loan from the taxpayer to cover the deposit on renting a London flat at the same time as renting out his own property in the capital. This is the millionaire. In 2017, the Torridge and West Devon MP moved out of his own property in London and started claiming about £1,900 a month on expenses for another flat in the capital. The arrangement, of course, does not break any rules. But Sir Geoffrey is reported to be renting his Battersea property out for £1,000 a week. Mail Online revealed that Sir Geoffrey received a £3,900 loan from the Independent Parliamentary Standards Authority in 2017 to pay the deposit on his new accommodation. Again, there is no suggestion that rules were breached. But the manoeuvre came as Sir Geoffrey was pocketing huge sums from his legal practice. He's earned more than £5 million since becoming an MP in 2005. Why would somebody that's earned more than £5 million since 2005 need a loan of £3,900 a month? A loan to put down a deposit on a flat they're renting. A spokeswoman for the MP said Sir Geoffrey has acted at all times within the rules set by the Independent Parliamentary Standards Authority. Yeah, that's right. He has acted at all times within the rules, and that's why the rules aren't really rules. They're just rubber stamps for whatever they want to do. I bet it would be in the rules if they had a puppy strangling competition for cash. Whoever strangles the most puppies gets the prize. All within the rules. 0345 6060 973. Text 84850. Email nicka@lbc.co.uk. If you're on Twitter, it's @LBC.
Hang about, Nick. Listen. Now, what I'm trying to say to you is this, Nick, right?
David texts, "Hey up, Nick. I understand that following the COP26 meeting about global warming, there is now snow forecast next week. Does that mean it's been a success?" That's about the third one I've had on that theme so far. Hayley says, "Hello, Nick. Stop picking on Bodger. He's doing his best. We all know it was Corbyn's fault, you woke snowflake." Yeah, that's the sort of it of it. There was a bit that I missed out. He's doing his best, brackets, at being the sleaziest, whiffle-piffle, I got Brexit done shyster. Yeah, that about sums it up, doesn't it, Bodge?
I can't comment on that.
Act getting very thin. Just saying. Oldbury, hello, Ranjit.
Hi, Nick. Nice to speak to you again. Thanks for taking my call.
Thanks for making your call.
Just before I start on my main point, I think Boris Johnson, what's happened to him? He wanted to be so much to be Prime Minister.
Well, I think he wanted to be Emperor, actually, King.
King, Emperor, whatever you want to call it. And now he can't handle it and he's bored of it. It's like trying to be a dad, and when you have the baby, you suddenly want to dump it somewhere else. I think that's what's happened to him, right? And his history precedes him on that, doesn't it? So the other thing is, Rishi Sunak, right? Okay, he's just come out of nowhere. In the last few years,
yes,
because he was a backbencher, and I was watching one of the programs. I think it might have been Question Time on the BBC, and suddenly he appeared. And I thought, who's this guy?
Yeah.
He doesn't seem like a politician. Okay, he's an economist, and he reminds me of the previous Indian Prime Minister, Manmohan Singh, who was a finance minister. Right?
Oh, yeah.
And now that history is going to be starting to repeat itself, and people are catching Boris Johnson out most of the time. Yeah, I think Rishi Sunak is lining himself for the top job. Yeah, and I've been discussing it with, obviously me being Asian, with lots of Asian people. They're saying, well, if he's going to be a contender, he's going to get the Asian vote as well. I would.
But why, though? That's like saying if Boris Johnson's a contender, then he's going to get the white vote.
No. You see, the thing is, these guys are clever. He's already clinched the white vote, yeah? I'm a Labour supporter. I would never vote for Conservatives after what they've done to me in 1979, yeah, and preceding, just before that. I was at school, we used to get beat up, yeah, because Margaret Thatcher turned around and told everybody, I'm going to help to repatriate these people back. And she never said she's going to send us back, but the people that were listening to it were telling us and using the P word, go home. So for that reason, I would never, ever vote for Conservatives. They can put a seat, they can put a Sikh guy in front as leader. I would never vote. But this is the kind of cult things that these people are using now, right? And the thing is, they've got all the right-wing vote for Brexit and everything, like what you always say, people are cutting their nose to spite their face. But I can see, and they could have a slogan, you've tried the Cowboys, now try the Indians. Right? Right? Okay. And this guy's very clever. Go on, what's your opinion? You think he's lining himself up for the top job? Because sooner or later, Boris Johnson's luck's going to run out, right? And then they're going to reevaluate the situation and think, right, where can we get some more votes, yeah? And there's a lot of Asian votes out there, right, that are still sticking to Labour. And I think he might be able to just tip them onto the other side, and
that's no way to choose which party you vote for based on the race of the person that's leading it.
what happened last time? You know, it was Brexit, wasn't it? Everybody, you know, we was talking about this today, right? That one of my relatives, yeah, he voted Brexit, was saying, oh yeah, because Boris Johnson is saying, you know, you're not going to get doctor's appointments because of these foreigners in here. Yeah. And we told him, you was a foreigner a few years ago, and now that these foreigners have gone back now, Nick, we still can't get appointments. What's going on? Yeah. and the other thing, if I can just mention this, you know, Rishi Sunak, his in-laws are billionaires from India, right? Mm-hmm. Now, the billionaires in India are basically, I've done a bit of research on this, right? And this is why Boris Johnson never stopped the flights coming from India all through last year when the Delta variant was coming. There's people sitting in India on money that they don't know what to do with, and they want to do inward investment into this country, yeah? And the National Health Service is progressively being run down so there can be a hostile takeover. And what Boris Johnson's going to do, hang on, I've got ready-made doctors sitting at the airport in New Delhi. I've got ready-made nurses sitting in New Delhi. I can get this National Health Service back on its feet with inward investment. You know what, stupid boy, you are privatising it, and that's what they're going to do. I mean, if you look up, there's some big companies in India. I mean, like now Norton Motorbikes has been taken over by an Indian company.
Oh my God! Is there anything that you think of as British that's actually owned by a British company now? And one single thing. Can anybody? I know I've done this before on this show, but can anybody think of a single thing, or indeed area of this country that is actually owned by British people anymore?
Yeah, I mean, when I was a lad, the only thing that I knew that was British was a car company called Morgan. Yeah. And I'm not sure if that's still British.
Well,
right?
I don't know if it's still going. Is it? Is Morgan still going?
No, it is. It's in Worcestershire. It's still going, yeah.
Okay, then.
It's probably got, I don't know. I mean, I remember one of the Queen's Jubilees, yeah, and people were waving the Union flag and it said Made in China on there. Yeah,
right?
And I think... And that just sums
it up to me.
And the other thing, Nick, you know, this government will not criticise anything that India does. Did you know Prime Minister Modi was banned from Canada, America, and this country because he was responsible for, while he was in charge of a slaughter of 3,000 Muslims in Gujarat, and he could not get a diplomatic visa until he became Prime Minister.
I didn't know it, nor do I wish to discuss it.
No, he invested £9 billion into this country, yeah, and then we opened Buckingham Palace for him, we opened Wembley for him, and that is what's going to happen. There's going to be loads of inward investment.
Cash is exactly. It's accepted almost everywhere. Ranjit, I've got to go, but thanks a lot, mate. 0345 6060 973. Every now and again, this show's educational, isn't it?
No.
Not really. Only by accident. Haley says, I've read that. H texts, that's the letter H. Johnson looks a bit stressed these days, and stress can thin one's hair. He won't like looking so He won't looking so teddy bear-like with the comb over, so perhaps will become less popular, says H. English perhaps not being H's first language. And this text says, Rishi is highly talented and we should be grateful. Who's your alternative? Diane 2 + 2 = 5 Abbot. Yeah, that would be the only alternative available. More whataboutery. Oh, and by the way, you spelt who's wrong. Never mind. 0345 6060 973. Text 84850. Email nicka@lbc.co.uk. And if you're on Twitter, it's at LBC. Friday, Saturday, Sunday night at 10. Nick Abbott, LBC. It's 11:30. The news headlines with Zora Solomon.
Shut up.
I can't. Mickey emails Nick Avenard, mate, these MPs have to choose whether to heat or eat. They have to choose whether to heat their stables or eat the venison on their land. Is that what you mean? Forest of Dean. Hello, Barry.
Hey, Nick. How you doing?
Good, thanks.
Oh, I've listened to you for about 20 years, and I've just managed to finally speak to you.
Wow, here we are.
Yay! Well, I'm a Londoner. Used to live in London, and now I find myself in the Forest of Dean. Lovely place.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm a bit concerned, because I know all the money is spent down south, and but since I've been here, I mean, it's just like there's no money being spent in this neck of the woods. It is, to get an appointment with a doctor you just can't. You can't do it. And
well, no, hang on a minute. When you say you can't do it, what's the procedure? You call them up, then what happens?
It's basically you ring up and you can get an appointment, a phone appointment, but that would be 3 or 4 weeks' time. I mean,
what? 3 or 4 weeks? You'll be cured or dead by then.
Well, I think my mum, she's 74, bless her, and she's still down in London, and I'm thinking of, I'm thinking of going back there because she gets better treatment than what I do.
Right.
But anyway, I don't know. I just think to myself, these MPs that's got second jobs, how can they find the time to do something different than trying to run the country? Because, since I'm a 48-year-old man and, I'm a bit wise to this and that, but since I've grown up, all I can see is that the country's been run into the ground.
Yeah.
And it really
certainly all of the spoils have been taken by a vanishingly few number of people.
Absolutely.
All of the rest of us do the work, but only a very few number of people actually take the rewards.
Yeah, you got it, Nick. And it's quite frightening. Do you know what? It's just me, myself, and Irene up here, and I've got no children. But I'm glad it's that way. But I can play the guitar. I'm a bit of a musician and a bit of a Pink Floyd fan. If you've got literally 30 seconds to.
Okay, whip out your axe and let's have it.
I've heard a few people whip out their axes. Anyway, this is the old Brain Damage song by Pink Floyd. I'm going to go Brain Damage by.
Oh, no, we've run out of time on that call. I hate when that happens. 0345 6060 973. Brain Damage. One of my favourites. Peter texts, in 2011, the Tories introduced the 5-year term. That was the start of the corruption. No, it wasn't. I think the corruption predated 2011. He says they're in for 5 years, so 5 years to make as much money as you can. Also bring in as much legislation so as to enable them to make as much money as they can afterwards. This piece of legislation must go, says Peter, for the benefit of all parties and the public. Yeah, I'm not sure it's the fixed term that's the problem. It may be a problem, but it's not the problem. 0345 6060 973. Isleworth. Hello, Ravi.
Yes, Nick, here we go again. You're going anti-Boris bashing. Meanwhile, you don't allow Conservatives to have second jobs whilst your own radio station has David Lammy tomorrow. What do you think about that?
I don't think any MP should have a second job. How can you have a second job?
Well, your own station has it first. Your own station has one.
Well, it is actually on a Sunday. One show on Saturday rather. One show on a Saturday. So, I don't know, like a full-time job's Monday to Friday. One show on a Saturday. I'm not discombobulated about that. I mean, I think there should be like a blanket rule. No MPs should be able to have second job. And they'll start coming out with, then we won't be able to attract the very best people. Well, if this is a result, if the cabinet is a result of us attracting the very best people, well, I think we should cast our net wider. I mean, are there people from other countries who would like to come and run this one? Because we don't seem to have the talent. Pretty thin on the ground, wouldn't you say? Anyway, thanks a lot, Ravi. 0345 6060 973. Shirley emails, have you seen the missing posters that have been appearing in Sir Geoffrey Cox's constituency? Maybe his safe seat may not be safe for much longer. If you haven't seen it, it's on the LBC website. Well, no, I haven't seen it. but I can't check because I'm actually on the air at the moment. Hello? Is this thing on? I'll check it in the break. Yeah, there is a sense of sort of inbuilt entitlement to a certain type of person who went to a certain type of school. I don't actually know where he went to school, but I can make assumptions. It's that airy sense of superiority, born to rule. And, of course, when they get parachuted into a super safe seat, then they can do anything they blooming well like because people don't vote for their MPs. We know that. I mean, technically that's what they're doing, but they're not actually doing that. People vote for the Prime Minister of their choice, not the local MP. I bet 9 out of 10 people in this country have got no idea who their local MP is. They went into those that could be bothered, mostly those over the age of 55, those that could be bothered, and that's why it skews Tory all the time, is because the older you are, the more likely you are to vote Conservative, despite the fact that, well, the last 11 years, for instance. They're going to stick it to the elites by voting for Boris Johnson and Smug.
You're better informed than I am. I don't know anything.
Yeah, that's really sticking it to the elites. That makes perfect sense. Makes as much sense as anything else that's happened this year. But if you are in a super safe seat, then it doesn't matter what you do because people don't even know. They don't know who their MP is anyway. They've got no idea who you are. You can do anything. You could be Jack the Bloomin' Ripper in a super safe Tory seat, and you would still get voted in next time around because they'd be voting for Bodger. Oh, you know, the funny bloke off the telly. He's doing his best. That bloke. Anyway, I will certainly check on those, Shirley. You see if I don't. Sir Geoffrey Cox's constituency. Maybe a safe seat. Not safe for much longer, says Shirley. If you haven't seen it, those posters are on the LBC website. Thanks for the swerve. This says, can you please include the British Virgin Islands when you do your weather forecast? I was just wondering what sort of conditions the Right Honourable MP for Torridge and West Devon has been enduring. Well, I'll look that up as well. God, homework. Homework? But, sir, it's the weekend. Let's have Pimlico. Alex.
Hi, Nick. I would like to speak about this, Tory solicitor scandal, because I'm absolutely right with you. Many people even have not a clue who their MP they are.
Yes.
If you ask them, you never met before, because they feel, they have to pay what this clown called Boris. What I would like to say is, of the public, what is the point have an MP? What is the point? Because we send him the Parliament. It seems to me Parliament become a platform for these people to only profit in themselves. They don't care about the public. They don't care about how they can make a maximum profit as they can in these 5 years. And then if you ask the people who voted for them, is in these 5 years, what that particular MP did for you, what changed in your life has been changed? Nothing changed for normal people.
Well, most people don't have any contact with their MP. They're not remotely interested.
Yeah, this is the whole point, because it means we just only voted. It means this vote is simply our vote is vested. Simple as that. Public vote vested. We voted, not these people make like millions pounds in 4,000 miles away, or this whole scandal after scandal. We voted to make public life better. But it's nothing getting better. Everything getting worse and worse. I mean, year by year, everything price go up. We have got massive crisis in homelessness, food banks, crisis in accommodation, everything we have.
Alex, this is not new. This is not new information. They've been in power for 11 years. So, as I have been told about 1,000 times, people knew what they were voting for, which makes it even more bizarre. This is what they were voting for. After the last 11 years of austerity, of their local council being defunded so that they had to stop all of the services that people rely on, and then blaming that local council for taking those services away, which is top quality gaslighting there, even after all of that, and the slow destruction of the NHS, because if you look back before COVID, all of these problems that they're reporting now about no beds, ambulance waiting times, A&E waiting times, getting treated for knees and eyes and hips and all of the rest of it, all of this predated COVID. They're blaming it on COVID now. Oh, yes, it has nothing to do with us. It's completely out of our control, they'll say. No, it's all the bloomin' same. It's the exact same story 2, 3, 4, 5, 10 years ago. Same story. And after all of that, after the last 11 years, people still think the people to fix the problems caused by the Conservative Party over the last 11 years are the Conservative Party. It's just mind-blowing. Wake up, sheeple. It's later than you think. Thanks a lot, Alex. 0345 6060 973. Wow, just looked at the weather in the British Virgin Islands. Huh. Well, I'll see you at the airport. We're probably not allowed to go, are we? 30 degrees today, 28 tomorrow, 28 on Sunday, 28 on Monday, 28 on Tuesday. Sunny every single day. Oh well, never mind. 0345 6060 973. Friday, Saturday, Sunday night at 10. Nick Abbott, LBC.
Hello. Number please. Trying to connect you. Sorry to keep you waiting.
Yes, this person has been waiting in Chorley, Lancashire. Hello, Jason.
Hello. Now, I was ringing up about what's made in Britain, but a question for you, Nick, first, because most people in Chorley know our MP and like our MP, who is neutral, but he's not allowed to vote in the House of Commons. So who is our MP for Chorley?
Who is your MP for Chorley?
Yeah, because most people in the town know him. And we vote for him, but he's not allowed to vote for us in the House of Commons.
Who is he?
So it's the Speaker of the House of Commons.
Oh.
Lindsay. So we vote, but he can't vote on anything.
Yeah,
but,
not a big fan. It seems like, I don't know.
But there's a bit, so I just thought I'd throw that in. But but something that's made in Britain, Fisherman's Friends, and they're exported to over 40 countries, and they're in a town of Fleetwood, which is a really deprived town since the fishing industry died. And the woman who set the company up, Doreen Lofthouse, put most of the money of her, since she died, back into the town. So British companies with British roots can really affect British people's lives, really.
Yeah.
So
we've got one thing, Fisherman's Friends.
Yeah, but I know it's a small thing, but I mean, that just shows you that if you can keep it as a British company, I mean, the impact of her on the town in Fleetwood was amazing, and she's just died, and most of her money has gone back into the town, and
well, good for her.
Employment. Yeah, amazing. So there you go, great show. Anyway,
thanks a lot, mate. It's a happy news story. We found something that is still made in this country. Sadly, it's got fisherman's in the title, and that just tends to remind people of the decimation of the fishing industry after Bodger got Brexit done. Pah! Still, never mind. They're all dead fish now, and all the happier for being British dead fish. Richard emails, Nick, I'm under 60. Does that mean that from now on my life is going to be thunder, lightning, very, very frightening? Yes, Richard. If you're over 60, then you're fine. If you're under 60, then you will see the disintegration of life on this planet as we know it, said that expert on the news. Never mind. We're not going to do anything about climate change. We just won't. Too many people are making too much money from doing what we're doing. They're not going to allow us to change course. Plus, the little people, not leprechauns, us lot, we don't want to change our lives either. Human race is not very good at suffering a privation in the short term for long-term benefit. We just aren't made that way. We will react to an immediate threat, but not a long-term one that we can't see, touch, feel, squeeze and smell. We're not going to do it. We won't. We're going to ruin everything because we're stupid morons, essentially. Still, never mind. If you're over 60, then you're fine. If you're under 60, big problems, huge. Joe texts, "Hey Nick, do you ever wear a kilt?" Absolutely. No one does. Apart from that lone piper on St George's Street in Edinburgh. The bloke who stands there for the benefit of tourists. Well, for the benefit of taking money from tourists, I expect. I'm not sure any tourists would actually call it a benefit, being serenaded by the wheezing pipes. Woodford, hello Alison.
Hi Nick.
Alison.
Hello. So I've pretty much come to the conclusion that the problem with where we are at the moment is that we love to moan.
Yes.
And the government have kind of taken advantage of that. So every time there's something that we can be a bit disgruntled about, it's like, oh God, look at that. And that kind of allows them to maintain a kind of, keep us sort of distracted by certain things. But I think...
What you mean, if they keep making things awful, then we won't concentrate on their behaviour. We'll just concentrate on how awful things are.
Well, yeah, kind of. And the other thing is that you say as well that everything that's British or everything that this country has owned has been sold off.
Yes. For short-term gain. Again, short-termism, short-term gain. We want the money right now, or the people who ended up with the money, they want it right now. They're not interested in long-term gain, short-term gain.
However, the most valuable thing I think that we have in this country is probably the NHS from a commercial perspective to the rest of the world.
Yeah.
And there's been recently, which you were kind of opposed to, which was us signing away our information for it to be used in the NHS digital enterprise.
Yeah, another £100 million government computer scheme. What could possibly go wrong?
Well, I know there are things that can go wrong, but I actually think we should be a bit more receptive to that, as in terms of the value that we can, as individuals, provide to the country to commercialise and make money, because the government aren't making money for us; they're taking our money. So that seems like quite a good opportunity.
What, for us to sell our genome code or whatever?
Yeah, why
whatever
not?
the phrase
Why
is.
not? Let's sell it. Why not? It doesn't. If it helps to create kind of medical advancements or
balance the books. I agree with you there. Yes, it does seem on the face of it to make tons of sense. If you get everybody's genetic codes with all of the illnesses and the problems that they have, and you run it through a giant computer, and some robot spits out the right information.
Affirmative.
And for the benefit of mankind, that makes perfect sense to me.
Right, so what are we doing?
Gibbon, we're doing a radio show, 0345 6060 973. On the subject of pizza, Craig texts, Nick, I like pizzas but without cheese, as cheese is yucky. No, Craig, it isn't. But thanks for playing. Mick says, Nick, I didn't hear pineapple on your list. Please confirm, as this says a lot. Well, I can take or leave pineapple. There's pretty much no kind of pizza that I would reject. unless it was too cold. I've sent a couple of pizzas back for being too cold just lately. But I think they benefited from another turnaround in the oven. Put them back in the oven for about 30 seconds, and then they come out extra crispy. I don't object to pineapple, but not all the time. Every now and again. Why not? But not sweet corn. Obviously. Alison texts, Nick, stop whining and run for Prime Minister. And Oliver says, hey, Nick, doesn't the Dulux paint dog look like Bodger? Yeah, or the other way around, yeah. Both unbrushed, got fleas, and leaves a mess on the carpet. 0345 6060 973. Belfast. Hello, Brendan.
Oh, hello, Nick. I was speaking to your producer or whatever she does, Maggie, and I was wondering if Maggie may or Maggie may not, but she did. And the first thing I was going to say, not that there's going to be a list, but I'll keep it to one sentence because I know you like to move swiftly. I agree totally with you on the pizza stories. It doesn't matter what way it comes, veggie, meat, whatever, I'll eat it. But, yeah, and the chips, yes. But the other food that...
Chips.
Yeah. But the other thing you left off, it beats both of those.
What?
By, oh yes, by a significant margin.
Now, wait a minute. Don't tell me. I'm going to guess. I'm going to guess.
Go.
Well, is it a cooked product?
Well, it's not cooked when you buy it, but yes, you do cook it.
Huh. So it's not chips.
No.
And it's not pizza.
No.
But you cook it, and it's more-ish than pizza or chips. In other words, you would take it off someone else's plate if you were sitting at... I mean, you wouldn't like roam around the tables in a restaurant picking random person's chips, off their plate. But if they were sitting on the same table as you, then I think every person for themselves as far as chips are concerned.
Yeah, well, if someone sitting at my dining table said, I'm not going to eat that, I'd say, well, I'll have it. And I'll bet that 85% specifically of men,
yes.
There's a clue, specifically of men, when they smell this product, will, it's like cocaine.
What, you grind it up into a powder and then you snort it?
No, and there are multiple, here's another clue, there are multiple scientific, not that we take any, as you say, notice of people like that, but it has been proven by there is no scientific contradiction, put it that way, to the fact that this product, it's not a product, it's something that you cook, so it's not manufactured.
Right.
This has the same pheromone effect on men's brains as sexual stimulation. and now that is of any country in the world that has done studies over the last 40 years.
Yeah.
There is no opposition in any study. So, do you want to have a guess? I want to tell you.
Right, so this is a food that you buy uncooked and then cook it in the convenience of your own kitchen that is the result of which is better than sex.
No, it's not better than sex. It has the exact same effect on the male brain.
Right. So what if
arousal.
So what if you ate it while you were having sex?
I would suggest some men do.
Okay, and reveal the item today. Go on.
Bacon.
Bacon.
Yeah, the smell of either grilled or fried bacon will get any man out of bed immediately, and the reason is because of the smell of it.
Yeah.
It's the same as sex, or not sex, but sexual arousal. The same pheromones, and are stimulated. So that's it. The other thing, Obama, he. I know, it's horrible, but he cannot come back as a third term because after, I can't remember the name of the president off the top of my head right away, but they're only allowed to serve 2 terms because it had to be changed because of fears of a dictatorship.
Right.
And that's one of the reasons that Trump is so upset, because nearly everybody gets 2 terms except that loser.
Yeah, that's right.
And now, as an Irishman, if you'll just let me, I'll get out of your way as quickly as possible, but I have to say this. Lord Frost is a no man. Right? Now,
well, I restate my case. If Lord Frost is the answer, what's the question?
Exactly. Well, listen, Lord Frost is a no man is negotiating on behalf of Boris Johnson.
Yeah.
He's not negotiating on behalf of Northern Ireland, because he keeps saying that the problem is that we can't get sausages and that's rubbish. The vast majority of people in Northern Ireland are very happy with the protocol because it gives us the best of both worlds.
Exactly.
It allows us access to
the trade
European
between
market.
the North and South is going so well that this government wants to put a stop to it because it's embarrassing them. Yeah.
Exactly, and Wales will want it, and Scotland will want it. But Frost has never received one vote from any side of Ireland.
Precisely, an unelected bureaucrat.
Exactly.
Yes.
And then, if I may just finish, Owen Patterson. He is what we refer to here in Ireland as Northern Ireland Secretary of State's used to be a job akin to being sent to Siberia.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody wanted it during the conflict.
Punishment job.
Yeah. But Owen Patterson transformed it with 2 small companies that are here, and I'm very aware of these 2 small companies because I live here. And they both got, I think it was 300 million, for something that they had no experience, track record, or knowledge of. So they quickly, during like many companies and friends of others, quickly geared themselves up. Like Dyson, he changed from vacuum cleaners to incubators.
Right, you're talking about PPE during the initial. Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, so many people who have absolutely no experience or knowledge, apparently, of providing PPE for medical situations, made hundreds of millions of pounds, adding up to billions in all likelihood, for public money just disappearing before our very eyes. And much of the PPE either didn't arrive at all, or was broken on arrival, or was completely useless for the purpose in which they were supposed to be utilised. Now, you think that some sort of crime had been committed, and hopefully somebody will eventually get to the bottom of it, but in the meantime, I suppose we could just ask Bodger about it.
I can't comment on that.
Yeah, no doubt. Yeah, Brendan, I've got to go, but thanks a lot, mate. 0345 6060 973. You can text 84850. Email nick@lbc.co.uk. And if you're on Twitter, it's at LBC. Friday, Saturday, Sunday night at 10. Nick Abbott, LBC.
Do not panic! Do not panic! We are trained professionals!
Yeah, this is what we got when we are run by trained professionals.
Oh, no.
We are no longer interested in the opinion of trained professionals. Look what they've done. Lewisham. Hello, Hannah.
Oh, hi, Nick.
Hannah.
Hi. Look, this Jeffrey Cox. Is it Jeffrey Cox?
Jeffrey Cox.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. I didn't think it was possible, but he is as unpleasant and money-grubbing as Johnson.
Bodger, yeah.
I really didn't, because I don't think anybody can, leaving Trump aside, I don't think anybody can surpass in our country this Johnson fella.
Yes.
But Jeffrey Cox, he equalises him. Look, I've had no access. Sorry, I've had no access to newspapers. I've got no computer.
Huh?
I've got no smartphone.
What?
So I don't know.
Are you on the run?
Yeah.
Have you gone off grid?
No, I'm a dinosaur. I'm a dinosaur. Always have been.
Where do you get your news from then, Hannah?
LBC.
LBC.
Look, the thing thing is, I'm sure somebody's written about this in the newspapers, but I thought to myself, look, this chap, Virgin Islands...
British Virgin Islands, yeah. 82 degrees tomorrow and sunny.
Oh, I don't care about the weather. Virgin Islands sued the British government.
I'm not sure it's that way around. I think that the British government was bringing a case against the British Virgin Islands on some sort of corruption charge. Wasn't it that way around?
I honestly... Oh, well, hang on a minute. Hang on. In that case... I'm kind of wrong, because he defended the Virgin Islands against the government, did he?
I don't know about if he was actually involved in the defence, but he was giving them legal advice. So I suppose it amounts to much the same thing. That is an incredible detail in this story, but there's not really been hammered too much by the press, and I think that they should be actually going over that and illuminating it with spotlights, because that is absolutely incredible. If that is true, that this man, while being paid to represent this country, went to another country and acted for them against our government that was bringing a corruption charge to them, well, that just about beats all. I am stunned.
That does take the biscuit, I agree with you, but I thought it was the other way around. I thought the Virgin Islands were suing us.
Right.
And
why would they sue us?
No, well, I don't know, but I thought he acted for the Virgin Islands.
Yeah, I think he did, didn't he?
For the Virgin Islands against our government, of which he was a part. So he, in fact, I thought, was suing himself. And I thought, yeah, that's what I thought. That's what...
Suing himself.
That's not possible, is it?
You wouldn't think so, no.
Yeah, well,
all the press seems to be just concentrating on the money, but it's the it of it, the detail of it is the most astonishing thing. That if that's what happened, and as I say, this detail, this part of the story just kind of gets lost. Nobody really seems to be interested in writing about it. They're all concentrating on the money, honey, because that's what people are interested in. But if true, it's just absolutely incredible.
It is. I agree with you. It does take the biscuit that being part of the government, he's acting on behalf of an entity, or a country rather, that our government is suing.
Right. Yes. It's absolutely unbelievable. But that's the part that papers and the news media don't seem to be concentrating on, whereas to me, that is the most important part. More important than the money, honey. Even more important than him not being here, but being thousands of miles away on some godforsaken, beautiful tropical island.
Yeah. Don't you know anybody on The Guardian? Nudge, nudge. Can't you nudge somebody?
No, I don't, no. You'd think they wouldn't need nudging, though, for crying out loud.
No, I absolutely agree with you. But then our press is just... It's hand in glove with the establishment.
Some of them are.
It is the establishment, isn't it?
Some of
really?
them are. Some of them are. And I think one...
If it's only some of them, where are the pillagers gone? Where are the pillagers gone? Where are the investigative pillagers gone?
They still have investigative reporters. It's just that there aren't many of them because investigative is such a difficult word to say. People just they drop out at school thinking, oh, I'll never be able to say that. Forget it. I'll go do something else.
Shut up, Nick.
Something easier like being a doctor or a lawyer or something like that. Investigative reporter. I don't even know how to spell it, they think. Yeah, thanks a lot, Hannah. Cheers, my dear. 0345 6060 973. I'm just trying to get some paper detailing precisely. Oh, here we go. Okay, so this is the eye. Oh, subscribe to continue reading. Oh, no. Okay, well, the headline is, the controversial aspect is how the former Attorney General found time to undertake arduous duties while performing as a member of the British House of Commons, writes Sean O'Grady. No, that's not the controversial issue. It's what he was doing there. Not the time part. When he was Attorney General under Theresa May, Sir Geoffrey Cox once berated his fellow MPs in one of the very many acrimonious debates about Brexit by asking the simple, subscribe to continue reading. Let me think about that.
No.
0345 6060 973. Text 84850. Email nick@lbc.co.uk. And if you're on Twitter, it's @LBC. Hey, by the way, talking about get Brexit done. Poor. I do another podcast called it's called The Nick Abbot Habit. Very, very easy to remember. The Nick Abbot Habit. And it's clips from old shows. And for a while now, those podcasts were building up to the point of our glorious exit from the evil European socialist superstate. And the one that's out now is recorded on that night. The excitement filled the air, it did. And I've just given you like a little flavour of what happened that night. And I wasn't on the air for the very moment at which we were bonged out. That was left in the capable hands of our leader, Nick Ferrari. But I followed on from Nick at about, I don't know, I can't remember what time it was exactly, but it was when we were fully out, tasting freedom. And we had some reporters on and some feedback from, a couple of people. So that's the most recent episode that's available on an internet near you. Ask for it by name, The Nick Abbot Habit. If, by the way, you download Global Player for your app, for your smartphone, have you got one of them smartphones? Oh, they are stupid, really. I mean, my smartphone, very, very stupid. It doesn't learn anything. My smartphone's an idiot. But anyway, if you got one, then you can download Global Player from your favourite app store. And the stuff they've got on there, it will keep you entertained from now until the end of time, which should be, any time now. Particularly if you're under 60. Have you heard the bad news? The total disintegration of our way of life. The human race. We're going to be kissing goodbye to the human race.
Bye-bye.
Yeah, see, it's been nice. Not great, just, nice. It's been okay. Mustn't grumble. But if you're over 60, then it's you're on easy street. You made it. And things won't go upside down. It won't. The entire planet won't burst into flames, flip upside down and sink while you're alive, but your kids, not so very lucky. James says, hi Nick, because of COP26, Johnson is trying to save energy in his flat by turning down the heating and looking for another way to keep warm. He is trying his vest. Listener with material.
Oh, no.
Dave texts, COP27 might change the world. Yeah, exactly. COP27. This one won't. They had more lobbyists from the oil and coal industries than all of the other delegates put together, I think. Tons of money being thrown at keeping things just the way they are, which means that things will be kept just the way they are. Nice that we had that huge and tremendous deal that wouldn't affect us in any positive way, shape or form with Australia, that made us chuck out our insistence on, maintaining the drive towards net zero. Carbon emissions net zero. We chucked that out in about 2 seconds after the Australians asked us to. Just so that we could get, Vegemite more cheaply. Like that's what anybody's yelling for. What else have Australia got that we want? Apart from coal. Pete tweets, I wonder if G. Cox is declaring the rental received on his flat for income tax. Now, that could be fun. Pete, I am sure he is legal, decent, honest, well, legal, honest and true. Legal. I bet he is legal. Very precisely. Legal. Everything was done within the rules, which means that somebody should rewrite the rules.
Correct.
Tony texts, Tunnock tea cakes and iron brew are British, which should make us proud until the Scots vote for independence, says Tony. You know, one of the things that doesn't get mentioned much, if the good people of Scotland vote to leave the rotting corpse of England, then we in England are going to be in big trouble if we want to continue to be a nuclear country, because we ain't got nowhere to park our submarines. They can only get parked in Scotland because they have lochs deep enough, or like coastal areas, I guess, not lochs exactly. I don't know. I don't have any idea what I'm talking about on this or any other subject, as a matter of fact. But I did hear once that submarines in this country can only be parked in a certain place, and that certain place is Scotland. So if Scotland leaves and they say, well, you can't park them here no more, then we won't be a nuclear country anymore. Think of all the money we'd save. All the money that we'd save on something that we're never going to use, not now, not ever, never. What's the point? Other than to strut about on the world stage, giving it the big I am. Paw! 0345 6060 973. You can text 84850. Email nicka@lbc.co.uk. And if you are on Twitter, it's at LBC. Friday, Saturday, Sunday night at 10. Nick Abbott, LBC. Oh, look at the time. It's 12:30. Blimey, ain't time fly? Doesn't time fly when you're out of your mind? 12:30 on LBC, the news headlines with Zora Sullivan.
Listen to him. He knows everything.
Roy tweets, Nick, can we privatise the House of Commons so we can get some work done? Get it taken over by, I don't know, Serco. Maybe Serco could do it. Or G4S. Simon says, Nick, you asked for what things we own and are made in this country. What about Greggs? I went there today and I had 2 steak slices and a cup of coffee. Yum, yum. Steak slices? They serve steak in Greggs. Do they? Steak? I thought they did like sausage rolls and stuff, like cakes and things. Steak? Okay then. Sidcup. Hello, Richard.
Hi.
Richard.
Hello.
Yes, sir.
Oh, hello, Nick. What a pleasure.
Is it?
It is indeed, from my side anyway. I remember, was it 2 weeks ago we discovered that the president of the US of A is very environmental conscious, that he thinks that obviously 86 cars in a convoy is too much, so he's got 85 instead only. But I wanted to ask you if you know, did the American embassy paid for the congestion charge fines that they got?
I don't know. Is that still ongoing? Didn't because that's really old now. Because wasn't it Ken Livingstone that called them chiselers or something like that?
Correct. Correct. It was about 5-6 years ago. I heard that they went to court and they owed 2.4 million.
Wow.
And about maybe before the pandemic and that I heard 3.5 million. It jumped to that,
right.
And they kept arguing that the ambassador at the time said it's a tax, which they were exempt.
Right, diplomatic immunity.
Exactly, that's the correct words. And obviously, Ken Livingstone, and then I believe it reached Boris Johnson. He also said, no, it's not. And whatever, I honestly don't know. Maybe one of your listeners might want to give you a call and let us know.
I've got no idea, but it's not worth starting a war with America about over.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, they probably got away with it anyway.
I would think so. Yeah. Well, they can do anything they bloomin' well like, can't they?
Correct.
Particularly as we would, our position is at their heel, like a puppy. All right, thanks a lot, Richard. Yeah, somebody should definitely look into that straight away, if not sooner. Tim tweets, my dad wore a kilt to my brother's wedding, even though he's from Sheffield. Not really sure why, says Tim. Well, why? Why would a man from Sheffield wear a kilt to his son's wedding? That don't make no sense. Andrew texts, Dear Nick, if you are half Scottish, as you say, then why don't you do half your show speaking Scots and half in English? It would be even more entertaining. Yeah, I do think that the Scots actually speak the English language, just with their own unique accents. Because the people in Glasgow didn't speak the same as the people in Edinburgh. And the people in the Highlands, well, they don't speak like anybody you've ever heard. Very proper. Tom texts, Hi Nick, a couple of weeks ago I had a problem. This year's Star Trek convention clashed with a horse show that my wife wants to go to. After days of negotiation and explaining the importance of meeting my fellow trekkers, I'm currently in a hotel staying 5 minutes from hundreds of horses, not Klingons. Oh well, there's always next year, I'm told. I think you should stand firm, Tom. Maybe not on this particular issue, but, assert yourself, man. You want to be a trekker? Go trek. He's got dragged along to see the horses. And he wanted to boldly go. Oh, well, there is always next year. Maybe. If we live that long, Tom. A Star Trek convention. Apropos nothing at all, although just because it reminds me of a film, I suffered through the most recent James Bond film. Oh, my God. Are they advertising with us? Because if not, then I'd like to give you a full and frank opinion. It was absolutely awful. I didn't think it was ever going to end. It just went on and on and on, and it was just painful. He did, how many films has he done? Daniel Craig with them. I think it's 5. At least 3 of which were utterly forgettable, including and especially that one. He just looked like he didn't even want to be there. It was kind of just, I don't know, it was just, what was it? What was it about? What was that ending? They just didn't seem to put any effort into it. I mean, I'm sure they did. It just looked like they didn't. So I think fingers crossed for Mission Impossible. Don't let us down, Tom. Those of us who like action-adventure, where it's been in short supply lately. Paul texts, the maximum terms of presidency were clarified in 1947. Franklin D. Roosevelt remains the only person that has ever served 3 terms.
Correct.
That is correct information, Paul. Who has just looked it up on the internet, I bet. The internet makes everyone appear as though they're an expert. Amy emails, Hey Nick, went into the pizza shop, said, can I have a thin and crispy supreme? The man went into the kitchen and came back with Diana Ross. Oh, for crying out loud. Paul says, Prime Minister Boris Johnson might be doing his best, but after the Owen Gate, he's literally on borrowed time. The cult of Bojo may forgive him, but the Tory infighting will finish him. If Tory MPs, especially the 2019 intake, think that their seats are threatened, then they'll do to him what they've done to every Tory leader since Thatcher. Yeah, except that those new Tories from the north, they're not. They haven't had their feet under the table for long enough to get rid of him. It's the old guard who would have the confidence to do that. And see, I don't think that they think that they've done anything wrong. That's the overriding sense that I get from all of this. It's that, yeah, and it's day after day after day. It's like this person has taken that amount of money, and this person has done this amount of jobs, and it just goes on and on and on. And the sense that I get from them is, why are all these people, why have the nerve to criticise us? Don't question us, peasants. That's the overriding sense that I get from them. That is their initial reaction. Why can't we do whatever we blooming well like? These awful people calling us to account. Who the hell do they think they are? That's their feeling. They're actually saying in public, well, this is absolutely awful and it really is terrible and something should be done. And that's the end of it. It's the same with the climate change thing. That will be the communique at the end. Literally those words. It really is awful and something should be done. See you next year. If we get that far. They're not sorry. They don't feel guilty. They feel aggrieved that we have the nerve to question them. What a way to run a country, eh?
Dreadful.
Paul says Prime Minister Boris Johnson might be doing his best, but after the Owen Gate, he's literally on borrowed time. Oh, I've just read this, haven't I? The cult of Bojo may forgive him, but the Tory info will punish him. If Tory MPs, especially the 2019 intake, think that their seats are threatened, then they'll do to him what they've done to every Tory leader since Thatcher. Yeah, well, the Tory intake from the north, I don't think that they thought they were going to win. So it's entirely possible that the Tory party didn't put up their very best and brightest. They put up people that they thought, well, you know, we'll get the people on side who were already going to vote Conservative anyway, but they didn't expect to win those seats. Come on, they didn't. So they wouldn't have put their best people on there because they would have been expected to lose. So these were disposable candidates. I mean, maybe I'm over-egging it a bit, but, let's do broad strokes, shall we? These were the ones that they thought weren't going to get in. They weren't going to win. So they were disposable. So they're not going to start throwing their weight around. I mean, they know they're going to be out in their ear, or they suspect that they'll be out in their ear next time anyway. I mean, the Red Wall only lent their votes to the Conservative Party. You'd assume that after, all of the promises that have been made that do not come to fruition, particularly over Brexit, this glorious life that they were promised, has still not arrived by the time we all go to the polling booths next time around. They're going to think, well, maybe I've been had. So it seems unlikely that the majority of them, or all of them, let's put it like that, are going to get in again next time. So they're not going to be throwing their weight around to get to chuck Bodger out. It's going to be his like the Roman emperors that he does delight in quoting and detailing their stories. It's going to be one closest to him. And you, Jacob? 0345 6060 973. Text 84850. Email nicka@lbc.co.uk. If you're on Twitter, it's at LBC. Friday, Saturday, Sunday night at 10. Nick Abbott, LBC.
Come on, we're running late.
Nigel texts, in the event of us splitting off, or Scotland rather, claiming independence and then rejoining the European Union. Nigel texts, in a twist of irony, our submarines will be parked on EU territory. Yeah, we'd have to ask the European Union's permission to bomb Argentina. I'm surprised we haven't started that one. It's got to be a war with somebody. Why not to try the greatest hits? Birmingham. Hello, Michael.
All right, Nick. How are you?
Good, thanks.
Nick, this is a moral
conversation between me and yourself and your listeners, right?
What?
Now, my daughter is a doctor, as you know. I spoke to you before.
I do not know that.
No, yeah, she's an A&E consultant.
Right.
And works in a hospital in Manchester.
Okay.
Right. Now, since last March, all she's been dealing with is corona patients. People dying on the ICU wards and things like that, right?
Yeah.
Now, because Manchester has got a high variation of the Indian Delta virus, she was literally going to be working for another year in the hospital doing what she's doing, right?
Yeah.
So my daughter decided to resign from the hospital earlier in the year.
Well, she just couldn't take it anymore.
Yeah, she'd had enough, right? She'd wore out, right?
Yeah.
She was working 17, 18 hours a day, 6, 7 days a week.
Well,
not going home and things like that.
Yeah, I don't know how she feels. Go on.
Oh, Nick, I speak to her regular, right? I have her in tears on the phone some nights, right? So she decided to resign from the hospital. And then she was going to take up a GP's post, which is easy for my daughter to switch from an A&E consultant to a GP.
Really?
There's not a lot of training she got to do afterwards, right?
Right.
So, anyway, she's got 7 job offers to work in different surgeries, had all the information sent to her about the surgeries, about patients, doctors, hours, and things like that, right?
Yeah.
Now, my daughter didn't take up the GP position. Obviously, that wasn't for her, right? Now, my daughter...
But why not? What about it wasn't for her?
I don't think she thought the GP surgery was as hard as what she thought it was.
So she...
The long hours,
hang on a minute. So she quit...
and the
Hang
patients.
on. So she quit a job because it had long hours and then did not take another job because it didn't have long hours. Is that what you're saying?
No, it did have long hours.
Did have long hours.
Yeah, right.
Right.
It did have long hours and different things, right? Now, my daughter now is working back in the same hospital she resigned from for an agency. And she's getting paid double a salary she was for the NHS.
What?
She's getting paid double the salary she's getting now as she was for the NHS.
She's doing the same job for the same hospital and she's getting twice the money because she resigned and is now working for an agency.
Yeah, she's classed as a contractor. No, that's not morally right, sure.
Well, no. Have you explained that to her?
Yeah, I spoke to her about my brother yesterday at the roof when I told him. And his wife, my brother's wife's a GP.
However, I mean, if you were offered double the money to do the same job, you'd take it, right?
I said that to him yesterday. I said, Martin, I know Kate's my daughter, and I said, at the end of the day, good luck to her.
Yeah. But if that is being replicated elsewhere, then it may be good luck to her, but it's not good luck to the rest of us.
How many other hospital positions, doctors and consultants and people like that, they're doing the same thing?
Yeah, I bet quite a lot, actually. Agency
my
work.
My daughter didn't do it originally to get extra money.
Right, she just fell into it. Didn't do it deliberately.
She just fell into it.
Yeah.
The agency contacted my daughter.
So if she is earning,
if she want to go back to work.
Yeah, if she is earning
what she was doing.
If she is earning twice as much, then that means that her position is actually costing us 3 or 4 times as much because the agency takes their cut.
Oh yeah, exactly.
Oh my God.
Yeah, and can I just? I wish you'd cut me off and I'd tell you what my daughter's basic salary is, right?
Go on then.
Or put me on mute or what you can do so you know what my daughter's earning.
Give us a number. Go on.
Pardon?
Give us a number.
140.
140,000 a year?
Yeah.
Right. So
that's what my daughter's basic salary is.
Now?
As an A&E consultant.
Yeah, but you're saying that that's what she earns now?
She earns double that.
She earns double that now. Wow.
Working for an agency.
Well, that's absolutely insane.
Oh, well, it's scandalous. It's immoral.
But she's your daughter.
I know she's my daughter.
I blame the parents.
My brother's wife said to me yesterday on the phone, she was in the background, and she said, Michael, that's all going to be stopped. You know, she's been trained by the NHS, blah, 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 and all that, for free.
Yeah.
And I said to her, Sheila, she hasn't been trained for free.
Well, not free,
because she paid over £10,000 a year to go to university.
But it was subsidised massively. I mean, it cost way more to train a doctor up.
Yeah, of course it was, right? But like I say, that's not morally right, what's happening there. Well, that's not morally law, what the government are allowing.
Well, I'll go to the foot of our stairs, Michael. I am stunned. But thanks for alerting us to this anomaly.
Well, like I say, if you take some calls on it, good luck to you.
Yeah, I guess so. All right, thanks a lot, mate. 0345 6060 973. £140,000 basic salary, and now she's earning 280. How about that? All you got to do is resign and then walk out of the revolving door, come right back in again, and sign up for twice the money. Blimey. Safe in their hands. Ray texts, all those Brits living in Europe who at Brexit were not allowed to vote in the referendum, even though they were Brits and legally entitled to vote, as all were Brits and Europeans at the time of the vote. It's very complicated. So why was a vote carried for Brexit, which was unlawfully done because it stopped the Brits lawfully voting even though they were British as well as Europeans? The Queen was and is their Queen. If we don't rectify Brexit, Brits could suffer. Could? We have Brits in Spain and elsewhere in Europe who are broke and feeling stateless. Does anyone care for those Brits who weren't allowed to vote? Shame, says Ray. Yeah, well, I believe that they knew what they were not voting for, so there's that. Joe texts, an Englishman in a kilt. Is that what they call cultural appropriation? It's just no. I can remember maybe 3 or 4 times in all the years that I was in Edinburgh did I see somebody in a kilt. People just don't wear them. Why would you? Kathy says, Nick, just thought of something else made in England. Sir Elton John. Yeah, I guess so.
Rock and roll!
Yeah, mostly made in England. Yeah, although he made it in America first, didn't he? I think that's where the market is. That's where the money, honey, is. This says, Nick, a man goes to the doctors. Oh, no. No. Sounds like a joke. A man goes to the doctors and tells him, I can't get Delilah and the green, green grass of home out of my head. The doctor says, we'll never know what that doctor says. Oh, well, never mind. And Paul says, I want to watch the new James Bond, but I've heard it's 3 hours long. Maybe it should be retitled No Time to Pee. Yeah, well, you do have to wait until... I waited until I thought they were going to do a love scene. And that's the moment at which you just hair out and go to the loo. Because I can't sit there for 3 hours. Who can? I would explode. Terrible film, though. I mean, really bad. So disappointing. There's £9.50 I won't get back. Not that I'm complaining.
Whinging and whining and moaning.
I'll be back at 10 this evening. Who knows what torrent of sleaze I'll have to negotiate to get here then. Ian Payne is here from 4, but right now it's Clive Bull. 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 Now it's Clive Bull.